Hello, Sonaros. Are you ready for a great day? I'm seeing your faces and I know you're ready to greet me. Let me get it. All right, awesome, 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 awesome. I love it. What awesome energy. I love it. And I just want to say I am really glad to have the pleasure of being around you guys. So we're going to just start this off with hoot, hoot, hoot. That's that Olsen thing. Awesome. All right. Let's just jump on into this. Okay. I have this is the objective is we are still in the weather chapter and we are going to continue what we learned last time about weather. We're going to take that a little bit further and we're going to teach you some skills. We're going to teach you how to read a map and predict the weather in any given area and then be able to talk about it intelligently is very important to be able to talk about that intelligently. And let me go ahead and share. I've already shared my screen. Let me go ahead and pull up the weather map. There we go. Outstanding. Now I have my mouse here. Now this is just a regular weather map. Normally you see red L's and blue H's, but I think that this so it doesn't it's not too cluttered. We didn't use the blue and red letters. Now I would just let you know that we have H, which stands for an area of high pressure, which means the air is pushing down on the ground, which makes it harder for water vapor to rise when the air is being pushed down, especially because water vapor is so light that if the air above it, the colder air above it is pushing it down, then you won't get much cloud cover. That's why high pressure is usually associated with good weather. Okay. Just remember that. Okay. Now, the opposite, and then, like I said, the circulation is going to be clockwise in the northern hemisphere. In our side of the world, in the northern, above the equator, this is the circulation. This is how the wind's going to blow. It's going to blow in this direction, around this high. Okay. Clockwise. Now, in the northern hemisphere, the high goes clockwise, but the low goes the opposite direction, which is counterclockwise. Okay? Counterclockwise. Okay? Now low pressure lets the air go up. So for that reason, you see all of the weather that's happening here by the L is that the air is allowed to rise. So evaporation and condensation and in the precipitation, all of that happens under low pressure. It doesn't really happen under high pressure. Whenever you're under high pressure, you have very clear skies. You don't have very much cloud cover because the high pressure is pushing the air down. Okay, so you would notice here in the low pressure, you see all of this weather. They got rain, they got lightning. Uh, I would probably say uh, I don't think they show any other phenomena. No, those are just dots for the cities. But let's look at the temperatures. Okay. Let's look at the temperatures and then we can see what the air masses are doing. Okay. This feature right here, it's usually blue. It's called a cold front. What happens in a cold front is a mass of cold air moves into an area and pushes everything out of the way. Okay. Now let's just look at the temperatures in front of the cold front. We got 86 here in Washington, D.C., and the low is going to be 70. Okay, like right behind the cold front, you can see 5 degrees cooler, which is significant. Okay, and 5 degrees cooler for a low. And then this one is 59 degrees. So this is the cold air that is behind this cold front and is pushing all of this stuff out of the way. Based on this, I can make a prediction that when this front finally makes it to New York or Washington, D.C., or even Atlanta, if it's that strong, it'll take a little bit while longer to make it to Atlanta. But if it makes it to DC, you could pretty much guess that the temperatures are going to go down. Okay. The low temperature, especially. Okay. So it'll go down. It might be 65. It's going to be cold. It's going to be cold, and then since a cold front just moved into, we saw that there's weather phenomena, there's clouds, and there's all that. So it's going to be cloudy and cooler. And then when it's cloudy, we don't get as much sun, so it really helps keep it cool. Okay, so you kind of can predict if you see the barbs heading towards your city, you can expect in the not too distant future that that city is going to be colder. Okay, and it's probably going to have some rain, especially if it's on this side of a cold front. Now, with the warm front, okay, the cold front pushes, it's cold air that pushes everything out of the way. Well, you would think that the warm front is warm air that pushes everything out of the way, but here's the problem. Warm air isn't heavy enough to push anything. So what the warm front is cold air is backing up and it's going in this direction. It's backing up, but the effect is the warmer air has a space to get in to fill. So it'll give you an effect that on this side of the warm front, if this warm front makes it all the way to Minneapolis, that high temperature might go up a little bit, especially once that cold air mass has backed away from it and went over it. What's going to happen is that warm air is just going to come in and fill the void. San Francisco, we got Seattle is 73, and San Francisco is 75. And I know personally that both of these cities are by the ocean. So they're going to pretty much have pretty moderate temperatures all the time. But then we have a cold front. Now, this cold front, they are pretty much, they're very close temperatures, but this is colder. Seattle's air is a little colder than San Francisco's because a cold front is approaching. So I would make a guess, okay, that as this front moves through, the temperatures are going to go down for San Francisco. Also, it's going to increase the cloud cover. You see the cloud cover there? It's not as severe. Maybe this is not as strong of a cold front. Okay? Now, you can predict the weather of cities just based on the surface features of the map. And understand that if you are under high pressure, you can predict, hey, it's going to be nice outside because it's high pressure out here. If you look on the news and it says, yeah, a low is moving into our area, you can predict the area tomorrow because lows are associated with bad weather. Speaking of bad weather, let's talk about the most famous low, the hurricane right here. Now, a hurricane is just simply one of these, okay? But the problem is that it's in the tropics or the subtropics. Okay, it's the latitude is lower. You know what I mean? It's the lower latitude, closer to the equator, so it's warm water, warmer air, and much more tranquil conditions for a hurricane to develop. And what the difference is when it becomes a hurricane, it starts to become organized, severely organized, and then it'll just pull itself together. It'll pull itself together and just start spinning and causing thunderstorms, lightning, rain, all of that stuff. And, the high winds, of course, we already know about the high winds of the hurricane. So when it's organized, that low pressure area gets tighter and tighter and tighter. And the tighter it gets, the higher the wind. So that's very dependent. No, excuse me, I'm sorry. They develop over the water, and they develop over the water, and water is a perfect place for hurricanes to organize because there's no surface features to interrupt it. And once the hurricane comes on land, by the time it gets up here, it's going to be almost broken apart. It's not going to be a hurricane anymore. It's just going to break apart. The land is going to break up the hurricane. So they like to be out at sea, but they got to still follow their path north. And they will follow their path north. And the hurricane will break up here. I want to just show you. It's pretty much the lesson for how to predict off of a weather map, understanding the surface features and what they mean on a weather map. So when you watch the news next time, you'll probably get a lot more out of it. You'll probably be able to look at the map and say, hey, I see that cold front approaching. Mom, Dad, it's probably going to rain tomorrow and it's probably going to get cold. I do. I will drop this. I will drop the video of the low pressure area in on the next on my edit. Have a good one, guys. Enjoy yourself. Have a good one.